Well, work went later than expected. Oh yeah, Yahoo! Prof here. And work went later than expected, but I now have off through the new year. Pew 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 pew. Those are like, it's like gun shooting noises in the air for those wondering. We're getting one of my favorite tools right here. Craftsman, made in the USA. Why do we need that, you might be asking? Nope, not drinking. Probably drink enough during the holidays. Enough to get me a headache. Now I just have a headache from dehydration, so. Of course, did you see it? Went down the crack. Topo Chico. There you go. Forged in USA. It's based on the wrench. Works quite nicely. I forget where. I mean, obviously it's Craftsman, but I haven't had that one as long as I've had my one that's based on their Screwdriver, which I bought before let's just say before I should have. Alright. Let's get you guys over here. I got one of the III speakers, the purple one put away. It's not because this one isn't getting put away, just didn't get to yet. I was kind of multitasking with work. I was having to run some reports and stuff, and while they were running, taking care of random stuff in the room here. And no, oh, you bought them just to put them away. No, I did not. Excuse me. The issue is I don't have the dongle for them yet, and they're out of stock. So I can't use them. Also, I might get better quality than these guys, potentially. Back here, right? Those are just the insignia ones from Best Buy. But this fucking mess of shit is kind of dealt with, let's call it. You know? So I'm not going to upset it too much, except for those that know, that may change. And we already kind of exceeded the limits of this desk. If you haven't seen that, there's some redwood 2x4s. Yeah, check out my, what do they call it, a SkyPad? What do they call it now? A wall hack SP004 video where I unboxed that mouse pad. Just as big as the unboxing the mouse pad is me having to be able to use the dang thing by making enough room. I'm thirsting. Oh, heard back from LTT about the Screwdriver video, and apparently they saw it before I even responded to the video. So, huzzah. I think one of you guys in the comments called out that I was the first one. I did not assume I would be. But hey, maybe that leads to more partnership stuff. I've helped in the past with, like, sadly unaccredited, but with some of their mouse pad videos. I guess mouse videos too. Mostly the mouse pad videos. Turns out we just showed you a hard glass mouse pad way back when I helped them with that. Nobody used hard pads. There was this era where the desk pad took over, right? And still to this day, I would argue it's taken over, and I don't see the fucking point of a desk pad. To each their own. I do have one-on-one table, but it's actually not for mouse pad purposes. You know, it's for like covering the desk purposes. Different. So, not many people use, apparently at least, not many people use hard pads, or back then. Now, I mean, SkyPad's an entire company. SkyPad, now Wallhack, is an entire company built off of the SteelSeries I series, or generally the i2, which I used to have 2 of, and I bought a close friend, a pink one. I believe another close friend bought a white one for way too much money. I think those now on the secondhand market go for like $1,000 because they're so rare. Why a pink? Well, nobody wanted pink back in the day. It was cringy. So pink ones were available well past any of the other colors. If you guys are wondering, SteelSeries used to be, they have the QCK also, right, in that original cloth pad lineup. So very, very popular, right? But their hard pad lineup, they had every type of hard pad, at least plastic and a bit of metal. Yeah, pretty much every kind of hard pad, at least a sample of it. I'm not going to say they're the best in every one of them, but they were very, very good in all of them. And you had everything from the cheapest hard pad, which is basically what the QCK hard is right now, all the way up to these multi-layer metal plastic hybrids that Razer later did, and no longer does either. What is this video about, though? Well, it's about me becoming undehydrated. I was in a bit of a focus session about getting those reports out because I'm like, I want to get these out and I want to get out of here because I really needed to get them made before I left because, like I said, I am out for the rest of the year. Paisley Marie, I'd like you guys to see how this is, what's happening. Look at this shit. That's what she did. Sometimes she jumps and she wants to go to my shoulder. I assumed that's what was going to happen. And she peeks over the shoulder while we make the video. No problem, I said, right? In my head. And Paisley's like, yeah, fuck that. I'm just going to go on your back. Kitten. Here. You're riding me? Thank you. Alright, we gotta go on a little trip. Ba-doo. Get your amber clocks, guys. Amber. I mean, technically red's better, but red hurts my eyes. Amber doesn't kill your night vision. Maybe a little bit more than red does, but... And it's also not as harsh on the eyes. Alright, we need both these guys. Ooh, you want to see something cool? Watch this camera. Look at that, you're causing my IR receiver of my PC to go off. Look at you guys. I think that's because the Pixel uses IR or laser focusing on the Pro Series. That's always been a big difference for those running between the, not even just the Pro, like the normal, like the 7, for example, or the 7A. I believe the A doesn't have that super fancy focusing system that even, actually, like, very few mirrorless, at least when I last looked at them, employed that. So we've got our Irwins here. That's what this video is about. I wanted to preface it, however, with the fact that I still use them to this day. And I only stopped because they switched from the Irwin forged bits, which is just square. I got those. Okay, so here. Paisley, don't go and destroy things just because I'm making a video, please. Kitten. I see some sus right there. Just can't leave it alone. I don't know what she's not leaving alone. Paisley. Kitten. Yeah. What are you doing? All right. So here, I can't focus on that apparently. What if I click it? Nope, too close for the 5x. 2x? All right. So, what I love here, like it's tracking it. Ooh. I love that they added that to the Pixel. This guy on the right here, that is a square 3, and that is a forged bit. It's basically bare metal, right? Shiny. They actually paint that blue on, right? That was actually a big thing. They're like, yep, we polish them, we tumble them or whatever. We paint the blue on. These fit amazing in screws. This is their updated impact one. I still like them better than other bits at the time. Like I had a lot of DeWalt maybe. And I went, why did I get the impact rated? Because Irwin stopped making the forged, and I preferred the forged. Supposedly these are still forged, but they did not fit the same as the original forged bits on the right there. And you're gonna be like, well, they look different. It's a square 2 and this is square 3. I just happen to have them in my case here because what would happen is once I ran out of the forged style and I would go and buy more, I would end up with the impact rated forged. I think they still sell these to this day, or it might be a slightly newer version with even more neck down. Project Farm, I believe, used these and compared to the Milwaukee's and other ones, and they were not as good. Apparently, he was even saying they were loose fit, and that is, from my experience, compared to the older forged model, the impact did not fit as well. Now, why did I stop getting Irwin and switch to Milwaukee? Fleet Farm stopped carrying Irwin. Bits, at least. Now I just carry DeWalt and Milwaukee like every other freaking place out there. Here's the older Milwaukee. That is before the new Shockwave Max line or whatever it is. Shockwave, we'll have something coming up here, probably. And they also have that sort of silver right there that also rusts because it's just bare metal, not that they grind off after putting the black phosphate coating on there. I think it's black phosphate. These were like fine. They tend to be loose. Like they were out around the time the Irwin forged were, right? But they fit comparatively poorly. Now the new Milwaukees, which came out after the Milwaukee Matrix Carbide, which are these that have the little collar that's heat shrinked over there. That might have been taken from the DeWalt or another competitor. But if you notice, the tip is silver and the base is the impact rated. So you're getting the better of the tip being a harder metal, and you're getting the impact rating of the hex bit that is actually in the hex that's doing the impacting with your impact driver is going to be that black phosphate showing that it's impact rated. That is based on the Matrix Carbide. Remember how we had these snapping off? Or I mentioned this before. Tips snapped off those. Too hard throughout the whole thing. So I'm pretty sure they went a little, let's just say like samurai sword on it, where the leading edge on a samurai sword is very hard, but then the backside of it is much softer to take the blow, right? And the leading edge is very hard, so you can sharpen it very well. And even on the edge, it's different depending on what part of it. So that's kind of where this the newer Shockwave, and I would argue that unless you're getting them for really cheap with your bit cases or something, you should be you really should be picking up the Milwaukee. I think they're the best bit. at least for what's readily available in the like in your hardware store in the US that you can readily pick up. Like in that way, I've heard very good things about PD Swiss. I think Wera has, what do they have? They have like the diamond tip bits or whatever. Supposedly, Ryobi has come out with those, and they're really good. According to the comments, until the diamond coating wears off. Apparently, with these updated, I don't know about the matrix carbide bits, but at least these updated shockwave bits from Milwaukee, TTI actually designed them. The owners of Milwaukee, not Milwaukee themselves, but they ended up being so good that originally they were going to be a Ryobi product, because generally if TTI designs it, it goes to Ryobi, because that is technically like their brand, whereas they do own you know, like Milwaukee, but traditionally Milwaukee's products are all designed by Milwaukee themselves. Yeah, and I would argue that these, which seem to be made out of learnings of that matrix carbide, which I really like the matrix carbide if you use them correctly. However, I agree, if you market them for one thing and they can't do that without exploding in your face, yep, you got to recall. I just think they should have come back for the purpose, like that they were actually designed for, because they're very hard. Apparently, drywallers loved them. I love them for doing stuff like pre-threaded screws. Like almost all of PC building is machine screws into pre-threaded stuff. I don't even know if I'd use it for like taking apart my speaker over there, right? I don't even know if I'd use that, because those are wood screws going to wood. Probably be fine as long as I'm not using the impact, you know. Basically, people were sticking them because they were saying they were impact rated and shit. People were sticking them in their impact driver and sending home 3.5-inch deck screws and snapping them off. Because that's what Milwaukee showed. That's what Milwaukee said you could do. When in reality, that's what marketing said you could do that. Turns out the people that designed it knew what they had designed. So I had to open one there super quick. In here we also have, in my second, these are all my insert bits, my 1-inch, what they normally call an insert bit, and this is my set of power bits, often is what they're called, which is the 2-inch. What do they call them on here? Forged bitless stripping 6-piece. They don't really call them anything. In here, you can see that I've actually had all of mine were these Irwins. I bought enough, except for the most used guy here, Philippe number 2. And you can see even this Milwaukee is chewed up. Because a lot of times when you're using, especially Monsieur Philippe, they're, if you're putting in brand new good quality screws, you're probably using Torx. But you're not always going to be doing that, is what I was going to get at. And that is because you're going to have to take a screw out, right? And then that could very well chew up your bit as much or more than I forgot what I was even going to search up. Oh yeah, power bit. Wiha calls them power bit. Hex power bit. Number 1 Phillips power bit. Yep, those are pretty much all called power bits, whereas the other ones are called insert bits. And sorry, they're 2.5 inches, not 2 inches. Just wanted to double check that this terminology was still the case. How would you qualify a power bit? And you're like, all the bits are like that. Actually, they're not. So if we grab this square 2 guy, and these guys might get retired here, these ones that are a bit rusty, they've been a bit rusty for a while. Still been using them. It's not like it prevents them from being used, but I gotta imagine fitment is not as good as it once was. So what makes these a power bit? Well, prior to, insert bits have been standardized for quite some time, but prior to the power bit standardization, like prior until you got this, right, this notch here didn't exist. Didn't exist. You effectively, and this is the reason why both of these come with extensions with their bit, if not multiple extensions, right, is because it was assumed that goes in your drill, right, and that goes in that. Or this goes in your drill, because you can't put an insert, I mean, you can kind of put an insert bit directly in a drill, but if you want to quick change them, and actually bits prior to the insert bits were just straight, imagine like the handle on like a square shank screwdriver, or a hex shank screwdriver, or even remember, drill bits are circular or cylindrical. You could just have, basically take a screwdriver, cut the handle off, that's your drill, that's your screwdriver bit for a drill, right? So these, once they had that notch, and it's not this short insert bit, they're a power bit. And power bits came from the introduction of impact drivers. I don't have my original Milwaukee anymore. Let's go grab one of the Milwaukees. I think I only got the one Milwaukee now. No, I got 2. I got the subcompact. Charger, if he's out there, may still have my original impact driver I sent his way once I was, I shouldn't say done with it, I could have still used it, it just wasn't seen any use, and he said he could. Oh, you've seen the forbidden snap-on drawer. You didn't see that. Okay, so here's the subcompact, right? But what we want is Gen 2 fuel. There you go. Well, Gen 1 fuel. Hex impact driver. My original M12 is with Charger. And then prior to this, they had impact drivers. I had a Craftsman NiCad. Oh, we need a battery. Oh, avert your eyes, you're going to see the forbidden drawer again. Alright, in here, we've got quite a selection. There's 2 missing. One of my impact drivers. But here, for example, 1/4 inch impact wrench, 3/8 impact wrench, 1/4 inch impact driver, 1/4 inch hex screwdriver. The drill's missing. Here. Drill. This is my 700 series drill. I would like a better example. This one's kind of fucked up more than I thought. Gonna have to send it up for repair. Same thing here. Go the other way. 1/4 inch hex impact. 3/8 inch impact wrench. See, and socket goes right on here. Bit goes in here. Then we have here, once again, 1/4 inch hex impact, but it's the same size as the 1/4 inch hex or sorry, 1/4 inch impact driver. And no, this and that are not the same. This impacts, that has a clutch. So this is one of my favorite tools. Oh, that would explain why I have 2 of them. Why don't you go in? There you go. And you might see why I like this guy so much, as it is about as small and handy as the snap-on screwdriver. See what I mean? Oh God! Hopefully the phone is okay. That was a smack, all right. Oh, I think you guys survived. Holy shit! That was a good one. Oh, dropped that right on my foot too. So here's what these power bits are for. The reason I call power bits as well, because the thought is with this being able to go directly into that quick change 1/4 inch chuck, that is going to import more power, right, than using something like this or something like that and something like that in an insert bit. And it does. It feels you have more control over it. Like that, right? And yes, no, this is not even the surge or the I believe the surge is based off this one. This is a 2453-20. She's not new. Let's put it that way. You're like, oh, I see all your Milwaukee's have all this use and your Snap-ons don't. Yeah, this one was just rebuilt. That's why. And actually, if you look at my other one, I tend to use, since I have 2 of these purposely, because it's very hard to get the yellow housing. It's also very hard. This is the CT725 QC. They never made it in yellow, so I had to track down, just because I'm me and I'm whatever you want to call it. I personally tracked down the 1/4 inch impact wrench and swap bodies with the then repaired 1/4 inch hex impact driver, like the shells. But yeah, the other one is more beat up, so I tend to use it more. This guy comes out when I need 2. This guy comes out when I mainly am bringing nowadays, because I have these and I have the bigger ones as well. This guy, the reason why it's in the bottom of the drawer, you saw to move some things, is because I grab these, especially with the toggle, like the toggle trigger. Oh, exactly, toggle trigger. So this guy does not get used that much. But especially if I'm going someplace where I'm bringing a bunch of other tools that are already Milwaukee powered, I'll take this guy, because I don't want to bring double charges and double batteries, etc. But that is what the power bit meant. It is basically you can impart more power, and it feels more powerful to put that bit straight into the chuck of an impact driver. That's what that came out of, the necessity of that. And apparently Japan has a different standard for this, where it's longer on the ass end, and if you want to use it, you got to chop it off. Apparently some people have made adapters. But if you look at, I need like a impact from, okay, so if you look at on an insert bit, the impact rated insert bits will have those little notches around the edge right there. And if you look where that lines up, that is exactly where the cut in on the power bit is. That's purposeful. Now, some of the newer bits that add those, let's call them impact collars, right? Like we'll grab this Torx from Milwaukee. They just basically neck it down where you don't need the little notch in the hex, where it'll just grab on the neck right there. And they're not the only one. Even Irwin's impact ones did that as well. Nope, they actually have the notches still. So they kept the notches, which to be truthful, I do prefer. Who didn't? I don't know that I have any in here right now, but I know a lot of the newer guys haven't. But what's all this prep and everything to say? Well, this is all here because I finally said, fuck it. I prefer using, if I'm going to go out and buy some, I prefer the Irwins. I really, really freaking do. And it turns out, and the forged Irwins, forged bit. Here you go. Forged bit. The impact Irwins, now you're like, but you really like those impact Irwins. Yes, I do, because they're double-sided Torx. Love that. Also, the forged, straight up forged, because of when this was, did not have anything other than Phillips and square. Phillips and square. Oh, here's another. This is an impact rated slide. One of those screw helper extensions. I mean, it's probably only good for like an inch or inch and a half screw. But this is one of the only impact rated ones. Till Milwaukee recently started making impact rated ones. Yeah, and you can see here, even DeWalt on their highest end has gone to using this, like, I don't know if that's yellow heat shrink or plastic or what it is. It's not painted on, but they put a little collar over it. And some of my Milwaukees and DeWalts have fallen off. Same thing here. You know, and then some of these places will use this collar now to hold on, like, your magnet screw holder. There's all sorts of stuff. Same thing here on the Irwin. See this little collar there now. They say that's something to do with torque. I don't get how making it skinnier is better for torque. If anybody wants to tell me, you know, like, you're welcome to in the comments there. In this case, that little collar here is used to put this guy on, which is the same thing as that DeWalt you just saw. Just less refined because it's just plastic in there rather than having this metal collar. Milwaukee does that. These both have exposed magnets, which is actually really nice. Milwaukee doesn't do it that way. This one on my other one broke. I super glued it back in place as a backup just in case. Milwaukee went with more of this double-ended, which you guys are like, we've seen that before. Yeah, but you haven't seen how this works, which is, let's put this in the Milwaukee impact here. I don't even know if this will work on this old Milwaukee impact because the thing's bigger. That goes and it just stretches over it. That's not magnetically held there. It's like this gooey, gummy guy. And it doesn't go up to the tip, which is one of the very useful things of some of these other ones. So it's worse. And it's also, this doesn't come with anything. It costs money. I picked it up because I was like, all these other brands have this. I wonder if it's any good. And no, that is a case where Milwaukee did not design a good thing, and it is worse. Because here is an unavailable DeWalt that adds this to any insert bit. Yeah, so I basically finally set my mind, and I'm like, you know what, I have fond memories, and I very much prefer these Irwin forged bits. And I am down to one or none of them. In some cases, I have the newer impact rated, which I don't tend to prefer. I don't like these as much. They just fit looser. I don't know if it's because of how they're made or what. supposedly, like these say, these are like 3 times, I think. 3 times as durable. Yeah, 3 times. I'm blind right there. Torsion, 3 times the life. So these are torsion impact. I think they say 5 times the life. Fucking Milwaukee says like 25 or 50 times the life. I think Wiha might say 50 and Milwaukee might say 20. The Milwaukee's realistically nowadays, this one's chewed up because it's Phillips too. I use that for everything. But the Milwaukee's really, if you're gonna buy new and not be weird like me and be like, no, I prefer these older bits and I'm going to go out of my way and get them. You know, if you're not gonna be like that, and you're not going to buy these cheap kits that you're gonna see in a bit here. Like if you're not gonna wait for like the holidays and pick up a set. I mean, Milwaukee might even have these now because these are just their standard bits. They used to have like this used to be their high-end bit, and then they used to have like a lower end. And I used to have to go out of my way to get here these guys instead of these guys or these guys, right? So, and you can see here like this isn't really neck down. These are like sloppy too. Never a fan of these. But that was the other hex, metric hex set I already had when I lost one and wore out one of my Craftsman's. Womp womp. But I went on eBay. I tracked down, this was one seller. They were awesome. I worked with them. I threw them a best offer and I'm like, hey, I will take all 3 of these sets here and this, and just had to ship it to me. They gave me free shipping because I was buying all that, and they gave me a discount. I'm like, I will take any and all of the Irwin torsion that you have. Now Gertrude's over there. Hey Gertrude, I'll zoom out. This is the Granny Kitty, guys. This is Gertrude Ophelia. But yes, I loved these forged bit for better fit. I freaking agree. Now, even back when I was using these, I was already using my Milwaukee screwdriver, which has been shown in previous videos, and I still use this day. I will be swapping it out of service. I mean, it'll probably go in the drawer with the other Milwaukee stuff, so it might get used from time to time. But it was, when I was doing on-site work, my main one, because that company used the Milwaukee 12-volt line, and I already had one, and I actually thought it was down and out, but I kept it because it was like my first Milwaukee 12-volt power tool. It was actually like one of the first ones that came out. Here, you want up on the shoulder now? I bet you do. Yes, you do. All right. And I kept it around, like, you know, maybe I'll figure out how to fix it one day, or I'll, you know, or, you know, just to keepsake. I think I have one of my hard drives that got me out of when they died during the 2011 hard drive crash, or hard drive flood. The floods in Thailand basically knocked out all the hard drive manufacturing, right? And that was when my RAID array died, and I actually had to build an entirely another RAID array in a new computer to, well, the motherboard went because the power supply went, but I had to buy all new hard drives, enough to store everything on the failed array to try and recover it too. Sadly, anything over like 2 megabytes basically, or a megabyte, somewhere around there, I don't even remember anymore. That was in 2011 though. But basically, my life prior to 2011 doesn't exist. Even Steam and some other online things don't think I exist, despite the account saying it was created prior to that date. They have, like, I don't know if there was something about your Steam status or history that was stored on your computer, but it literally doesn't think I played a game prior to then as well, or until after then. Very fucking weird. So I got these. I finally tracked them down. It turns out there's still, and I have a search up on there. You can find, it's probably about the same to get the forged, the torsion impact, right? Which are supposedly forged, but the thing that was supposedly made the forged bit better was the forged bit better fit, less stripping. They say the impact ones are forged. I have to wonder if they're forged and then treated to be impact bits, because the fitment's way worse. They're loosey-goosey in there. Never liked them. Only went with them because once, you know, like Fleet Farm stopped carrying this. Like, this was put out of service fairly quickly, from what I recall. And because everybody at the time, I want to say Milwaukee was one of the first with impact rated bits. DeWalt was not far behind. I don't have any in here because I used a lot of them up long ago already. But theirs are basically just little stumpy hex guys. Like, just little, it looks like they cut off an Allen key and put a bit tip on it. Literally, that's how their first impact bits were. So I'm sure Irwin felt, even though they had just launched these, that, hey, we need to compete. And by that, we mean having a impact rated bit. I have impacted with these. I don't know that I've had any trouble with it. We'll find out, because I have a butt ton of them, and I will be attempting to use them with an impact, or using them with an impact. If they, I mean, these have already been used with impacts. Now they're so rusty, you probably can't tell any of that. Like this tip on this one, I remember the Phillips 1. Phillips 2 just locking in. The Phillips 1 being super pointy and fitting in there real good. But something that this reminded me of is that back even when these came out, Torx was not a thing. I mean, it was, you could get Torx, right? But there's a reason why Torx screws, like when you buy a bucket of GRKs, or even the little packet of GRKs, and even back then, I don't even think the US, at least in any of the places I was, had GRKs. Later, we got them in bulk at Fleet Farm, but then they went away from doing the bulk, and you got them in a pack. I personally love bulk screws. You just grab as many as you need, and you go. You don't have to buy them in like predefined packets that cost X amount. I know it's probably harder for the retailers to deal with, but I love being able to buy GRK screws in bulk. When Fleet Farm got bought out and they started standardizing, and they just used to have the same crap everybody else has, that went away, you know. But if you notice, they launched this whole Torsion line, and there's no Torx. Also, why are these so hard to find? You know, like, why are you making this big deal about finding all of these? Well, here, Nuevo, right? When were they Nuevo, right? I don't know if it's on any of these. Poncho 2006 is when they were new. That's why my favorite bits are hard to find. Here again, Irwin Industrial Tools, 2006. I wonder when Irwin was bought out. Let's ask my... When was Irwin bought out? When was Irwin, the tool company, bought out? Sold to Stanley Black & Decker in 2017. Yep, when their shit went downhill. So this is back when Irwin, and this is probably why Fleet Farm still carried them as a different brand, because they, like, I don't know if they couldn't get good contracts from the big, like, Milwaukee or whatever else, but they always had, like, offshoots. Like, I had Allen, I believe, is what my socket set is. And those turned out to actually be OEM'd by the same, like, one of them is actually stamped Craftsman. And they looked very Craftsman-like. Yeah, it turns out made in the same company, or in the same factory, the same line. Somebody just forgot to change the roller or the die roller over, because I have one that's actually stamped Craftsman on there. So this is pre them being bought by Stanley Black & Decker, and back when they actually made their own stuff. Now, if you look at a lot of Irwin stuff, it is literally just another company's rebranded. Whether it's a Stanley Black & Decker one or somebody else's, they're just not doing their own. Even vice grip back then, I actually have some Irwin vice grips. That's after they bought Visegrip. And I believe you can still get, like, unless you want to go the Mako route, which doesn't exist, so you have to buy directly from Snap-on, which I will probably eventually do. One of your best Visegrips that you can still get, you got to be careful though, but is the Irwin Visegrip, and it has Visegrip. It's still stamped in the same way it used to be on there. I have used Irwin Visegrips for, I don't know, basically since I've been born. Let's put it that way. So if I can't get myself a, the Snap-on made by Mako ones, since they bought them out, that's probably the route that I'm going to go. But Irwin is known for very quality tools. It's just plummeted over the past almost 10 years because of the Stanley Black & Decker. Basically, a lot of theirs are just rebranded DeWalt tools. Just like Craftsman, a lot of Craftsman's current tools are just rebranded DeWalt tools. And that's why they're kind of pulling out of Craftsman as a brand. Probably why we never saw their 12-volt line is because we barely see DeWalt's 12-volt line. They keep it around because they sell enough to keep it around, but it's not even brushless yet, right? And what they found out is even though DeWalt is supposed to be entry-level professional, high-end consumer, and then they wanted to place Craftsman at the, like, let's call DeWalt like prosumer, right? And then they want to, but here's the thing, they wanted to place Craftsman at the, like, where Craftsman used to be, which is the high-end home enthusiast user and possibly entry-level professional. That's exactly, effectively, they put them at different tiers, right? But that's effectively where DeWalt was. So it doesn't make sense to have two of your own brands competing. I mean, like, Japan would say that makes sense. I say, and the market has said, that doesn't make sense. Then also they got rid of Stanley Fat Max before they bought DeWalt. Some of the most innovative tools I own are Stanley Fat Max, which is why I'm so bummed that that's gone, because all of that weird tool development that actually ended up on some really cool, really useful tools, gone. And also a lot of those more quality tools, like you could find Stanley Fat Max in a Walmart, and that would be like a quality tool. It's because it's a Stanley, you can't anymore. So times have changed, but yes, that's why these are so hard to find. Is they're from 2006. They are made in China. Yeah. I just have always really, really, really liked these, and I am now to the point where, you just saw I had to replace my set of Irwin double-sided impacts, the impact-rated ones. I'm now to the point where I am out of impact-rated Irwins, and I'm starting to go to, actually in here, because Phillips 2 is used so often in the United States, in there was the, like these guys, like I just showed you for the DeWalt. I used up all my DeWalt Phillips 2s before going to the Milwaukee, because I only have like 2 of these Milwaukees, I think. Might have more now, but and I'm gonna use up what I have before I go out and buy new stuff, right? But we finally went and bought that. So I have 1 pack of these. And if you notice, it's only got Phillips 1, Phillips 2. You got 2 Phillips 2s. You got 1 square 1, 1 square 2, because this is back when your square, your Robertson was still viable. Then you get a little Irwin extension that is not for your impact, right? This is for your drill. That way you can get the same experience you would have on an impact driver or a screwdriver, right? Like an electric screwdriver, on your drill. Because still back in this era in 2006, despite me now having, when did that launch? When did Milwaukee's 12-volt line launch? 2008. Yep. So, despite me being on the cusp of owning, the 12-volt screwdriver, right? And I had that Craftsman impact driver that would take these directly. Most people didn't even know what an impact... I would just say, because I have mechanically inclined people in my family that did not own an impact driver until they saw this guy, which was my second one. They were like an oddity. Like, I want to say industry didn't even pick them up. There's still videos coming out on YouTube to this day for home gamers that, like, hey, maybe buying that singular combination drill isn't the way to go. This is actually what you want. It turns out the driver is good at driving, whereas the drill is good at drilling. Le gasp. That's basically why these are all now sold in combo deals like that subcompact, which I recommend a lot of you. If you guys do not have, like a quality power tool, the Milwaukee 12-volt subcompact combo with the drill and the impact driver that's going to get you through most things. Should you build a PC with it? No, you should not. Electric screwdriver or do it by hand. So, like, though impact drivers are around in this period of time, right, and we're starting to go to impact rated bits, right? Not many people are knowing of that. That's probably why Irwin with this did not consider making these impact rated out of the gate. Now, like I said, not too many years later, boom, they're out there with the Torsion impact, which they claim are still forged. They probably still are. I just don't think they fit the same way that these really promote. Realistically, these bit extensions are they're bit extensions. That's my this one is actually good. That's like an old school way of doing bit extension. I think you've seen a big long one of that. I've had that one for longer than these have been around. Let's put it that way. Like, there's this little lip they added here to make it easier. Mine doesn't have that. I think it's metal on here. Mine's plastic. But yeah, there's no Torx yet, because basically back in this era, though there was Torx, deck screws and stuff like that is still done in Robertson. So your woodworking screws, we've at least progressed from your Phillips, or this was a early era, which was kind of nasty, where they would have your Robertson or square drive with and that'd be canted, right? Imagine canting that to fit in the tip of the Phillips. So what that meant is neither of them drove very well. Basically, they were supposed to be the square did drive better, considerably so, I would say. But the Phillips was there for basically like, hey, the professional's going to put it in with the square drive, and at least the home gamer can do something with the Phillips, right? But I've got 3 packs of these, which are 2 number 1 Phillips, 4 number 2 Phillips, and 2 number 1 squares and 4 number 2 squares in the insert bits. So that's getting us pretty far, right? Then we went over this, which is 1 number 1 Phillips, 2 number 2 Phillips, 1 number 1 square, 1 number 2 square. Well, not only do I have that, though, I have this entire stack. This is it 10 or 20? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That is 22 packs of Irwin number 1 Phillips. Why do I have this many? This was $6. Yeah, the shipping, I'm pretty sure, was more money than the actual bits. And these have to be coming out of like new old stock from closed down hardware stores. Much like if you watch my recent video on those Skill hand tools, that one set of them was definitely from a store fire, if you ask me. I actually even got confirmation from the seller that he ripped off the original packaging. That's how he knew they were new, and cleaned them up before sending it. Like, he put like new packaging over it. If we go back and look, the bubble wrap that we pulled off that was directly around it that had the packaging in it, that was still the original bubble wrap, and that was like blackened / browned. So I'm like 99% sure that this guy knew that he was selling fire / water damaged goods. and didn't disclose it on eBay. Now I'm trying to get some money back on it because I do still want them, and they were brand new. 2 of the 3 still had the pegs in there that were the security pegs, and they came in what I now know to be, because it had little papers underneath. It just didn't come in the boxes. Like the other set I had came in the original retail boxes. I'm guessing the reason why it wasn't in the boxes is because it was water damage, and that cardboard had soaked up the stuff there. Can't blame the guy for trying to flip stuff they got for cheap. Probably, like Squares was saying in that video, we just took everything from our store and put it into I was gonna say cartons. Cartons is the wrong term. Shipping containers, and they just took it away and wholesaled it. Now this is the last item. You might know based on the sound what it is. We gotta get the letter opener. Letter opener! Kerpow. So I'm not saying that these are like water damage. You can see there was a sticker on that one. These are probably just old stock. Here, let's try and ask Google it. When did the Irwin Torsion impact rated bits release? Did they have earlier impact rated tools? Did they have forged impact rated? Yep. Okay, so 2013. So this explains why I was so attached to these also. And Google may be wrong. I may have to search this up more, but according to Google Gemini, who as of the latest update on my watch works just like on my phone, where it can continue the conversation shit. By the way, it still can't turn on and off my lights properly, and I think we found out we can do color temperature finally. Before it would just tell you like, I can't do that, and I'm like, boop boop, I can do that. 2006. So I was using these from 2006 to 2013. That's a good amount of time, right? And I was used to being able to just they came in if you're running when they sold them, you saw these were like very early packs that kind of gave you a starter. This is how they actually sold them at Fleet Farm, was in these 2 packs, which I really liked, and I still you guys know that to this day I preach buy the brand that you can get replaced, because it's so dumb that with like say DeWalt, and maybe it's not like some of those let you get replacements, but like say Ryobi, right? You buy a pack of all their bits. It has this starter kit. It's got 1 Phillips 1, 2 Phillips 2, yada yada yada. You burn through all the Phillips 2. You don't want to have to go and buy an entire another $45 screwdriver bit set to get some more Phillips 2s or Phillips 1s, right? Irwin, however, sold them exactly like this. They sold these sort of starter sets, and they sold whole big kits, which I could never afford. Remember, I've been doing this for a fucking long time. In fact, I'm still reusing, I think I've showed like here, before DeWalt made them clear. They're right there. I even have the curved black one that's being used to house the extra pieces, because all of DeWalt stuff has been, well, not all of DeWalt stuff, all their bit containers. DeWalt is very bad, actually, in many other cases about interchanging things, except for their batteries. Batteries good. Everything else, yeah. Bit holders, yeah. But yeah, so I was using these for quite a long time, and part of it was the fact that I thought that forged bit thing was really nice, and they ended up being very nice bits. And then also, at Fleet Farm, you could walk in there and be like, hey, I used up all my Phillips 2s, and buy another pack or 2 of Phillips 2s. And you just get 2 in there, and you just go along your way, and that was like $1 or something. I don't know, a couple bucks at most. And you could do that with the insert bits as well, and they're all in these little 2-packs. Bosch does that with their drill bits right now. So if you guys are looking for not random Chinese brand, I think on their it's above M35, M42 bit set, then they'll sell you replacement bits in 2-packs. I like that. Irwin was doing that with these, and that's why I liked them. And Fleet Farm was very well known to be like, it wasn't uncommon for places to do this. Like Craftsman was also well known, where that's why I have so many 5/32 screwdrivers. Is you can walk in there and you can be like, hey, I need a singular socket, right? I need a singular socket. They have it. I needed these 5/32, 5/64, sorry, 5/64 screws. These are amazing for cracking open Cherry-MX switches. Now people have 3D printed, and even back before that, CNC milled little switch crackers. But I could grab it and go pop, flip it over, pop, done. And then you use your fingers to make the switch not explode apart. Also, just this size tip, it's actually just ever so slightly smaller than like the exact correct size, which gives you a little bit of leeway. It's pretty thin. You can see I've used the crap out of this because all the coating is off there. I actually really prefer this. So you're like, oh, that's got a lifetime warranty, made in the USA. Yeah, I could go change it out and they give me some piece of shit made in China Craftsman. I'd rather have one that's shedding a little. Yeah, so that, like, really nice that you could just go in, and Fleet Farm had that, not to the same quality as, say, a Craftsman, but many times I would need, like, you know how sometimes you have bolts that have the same, and cars, they try to avoid this because they've gotten smart, the engineers have gotten smart, but say it's a 3/4 inch or 5/16 inch head on the bolt, right? And then the other side is also a 5/16 nut. Well, you need two sockets. So like when building the here the 2x4 workbenches here, which I also made much nicer 2x4 desks upstairs, I need dedicated or I need an additional socket, and to make that easy on myself at least, right? And what Fleet Farm would allow you to do, or like Craftsman before, not I say before them, sort of at the same time, but Fleet Farm was here, and you could just go get like an Allen socket and buy an extra deep one or something like that. Like they would just have walls of that sort of stuff, which is great around here for the farmers, great for me for doing these projects. Or you just buy more of singular drill bits and stuff like that. That's basically gone now that they have converted to all these standard, like Milwaukee. They have a lot of Craftsman at Fleet Farm now, which is like, because most of their stuff's like visually a knockoff of the Milwaukee stuff. But like the guts are like the DeWalt. Weird. But it was just very handy to be able to, basically all that went away when Fleet Farm got bought out. That was another thing that Craftsman did, because like I showed you, you could buy just that singular size precision screwdriver and you could get multiple of them. Or you could go in and get another socket or another Allen key, like a singular Allen key. All that sort of stuff, like that was far more common. Nowadays it's like, nope, buy the whole set. Or you need another one, buy another whole set. So that's why that was kind of how these bits always were. You got to buy the full kit, you know, at least one of these things full, but it might not even be full in the way that you want. That's why I buy multiple of them and arrange them how I want. But then it's like, okay, once I get a bit, I want to be able to just go and buy more. And Irwin and Fleet Farm allowed me to do that. That stayed that way with these guys. And that's why I kept using them, because I could go and buy just a Phillips one. That one basically looks like it's never been used. However, once these went away, I don't know if the branding's changed, but they are different now. And then what happened after that was Fleet Farm sold. You know, they got a new owner, and then they redid. Like I had to rebuy all my. I used to have these little Tupperware containers that I put all my mice in. I went from buying these from a nice local store that they were the correct size, and they're actually nicer than these are, to having to buy them off Amazon, because they changed their brand to was it Husky? Not Husky. Hefty. I ordered those, and then they stopped carrying those, and then it's basically the same shit you find at Walmart. That was the nice thing about how Fleet Farm did it, is they had quality stuff from brands that you didn't have in other stores. Now it's the same shit everywhere else. Worse selection than anywhere else. Like, there's no... Like Menards, they have different brands. They have Master Force and all this other stuff. It's quite unique. Why would I buy... Like, basically, anytime we've gone to Fleet Farm lately, it's like, I need this thing to complete this product. I know they used to have it. It used to be right there. And you go in there, and that's just a bare shelf. My tool bag that for when I was doing on-site work was actually, it's a Bucket Boss, I think. It's been linked in some descriptions or in my toolkit and stuff like that. The only reason why they had it, it was on their online shop, but they don't stock it in stores. Somebody returned it there. Otherwise, everything else there was just the same cheap garbage. Look what I got. That's what you're hearing. I got 2 20 packs of number 2 insert bits. I think I am good on number 2 insert bits now. And yes, they have their own little hang tag like this. This one is still completely sealed. And before bringing it to me, because this one looks real brand new if you look at it, right? This one looks a little bit like knocked up, that maybe somebody used it, etc. Turns out it was opened. The seller of this did reach out and be like, hey, do you still want both of them? I went to go look at this one, and it actually was open once before. They, however, poured all of these out and made sure that there are 20 number 2s in there. Hey, props to you, guy. I'm just pumped that I have these. You know what I mean? And actually, they may have... That one's used. So it has been opened up before. Let's see if there's any more. If they just pop this open and use 1 bit at some point, I'm not going to be horribly perturbed. You can see there was a little bit of wear on it, and the seal was broken. That's why they reached out and they counted 20. That one's still good. Here, let's see if you guys can find ones that are not good. It looks like they might have just used the one. Of course, it was like the one that I grabbed right away too. Probably because it was on top. They just threw it back in there. Knowing my luck, it was probably actually the place he got this from. Somebody needed a number 2 bit, and because these were openable and resealable, this crap happened all the time at Best Buy. Like I said, often those skill kits were open because people in the store were using them to repair shit in the store when they were for sale. So because this one was resealable, somebody might have gone in here and pulled out 1 bit, and gosh, these look so well made compared to their newer counterparts, I tell you. And I'm gonna keep trying to get more and more and more of these. You'd be like, why? Well, they don't, they haven't been made in, these are 20 years old. Yep. There's only this bit. So somebody opened it up and they thoroughly rounded over that bit right there and then closed it up and put them back. 1 bit out of 20, not a big deal. They even reached out and they're like, are you sure you still want it because it's been open? And I'm like, fuck yeah. Here, we can put it in this guy. Doesn't technically fit well, but I was gonna try and find. Oh, there are some. Here. There's a Phillips right here on the desk. I mean, that's how much wobble. there is in these bits. Like, the bit does not move in the Phillips there. And if you use them right, you know, so the person who stripped that, I would not be surprised if, like I said, because that's resealable versus those blister packs, they popped that open knowing they needed a bit and that they could close it up. So they used it, chewed it up, and popped it back in. A little bit of a bummer, but I got no problem. The seller let me know it was open. He counted, make sure all the bits were in there. I wouldn't expect him to make sure they're all perfect, you know, for 20-year-old bits. But I'm pumped that I now have 40 of these bad boys. Basically, I want to get enough of these that I can just, unless there's another miracle bit out there, I'll just be using those. And I do need to, at some point, try to track down more of these matrix carbide. Now, there's going to be less of these available, but they're newer. They're much, 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 much newer, right? But they were actually actively recalled. So that's going to be its own kind of thing, if you know what I mean. I do have actually a contractor pack of these guys, the 2.5-inch power bits. I have a contractor pack of these insert bits. So it's like 10 of each, I think. And I have 3 to 5 of the longer, here, these guys. The 3-inch. Really love those two because that hex shank down here. Having that full hex shank means I can put something like this Meg Boost from Makita on there and actually seat it properly, because this was designed back in the era when all bits were this hex shank all the way to the tip. I think I might have one. I can show you with a turn. I found that I had a 6-inch DeWalt. Oh, here's a whole bunch of DeWalts. You can see with these that they're mostly hex. Got one random Milwaukee. Oh, here's my 5mm Craftsman. You can see I chewed it up real bad. Still missing the 4. So if anybody knows where my 4mm Craftsman hex bit is, let me know down below in the comments. Alright, so we've got this guy sorted out here. And the Irwins are going to get their own drawer. Just like the, here's the matrix carbide. There you go, I got quite a few of those. Sorry, 3.5-inch, I thought they were 3-inch. Yeah. See, it even says impact bit. Nowhere else on here. Best fit, lifetime tip warranty. Matrix steel carbide, extreme wear resistance and bit life. If they just would not... Oh, here's another thing. Absorbs peak torque and prevents braking. Yeah, they're talking about this part right here. That's what came to the newer one as well, right? The ones I showed you. Like that guy right there. If I zoom on in, the silver and black one, that basically pulls it from here. Here's the issue, though. What would happen to the matrix carbide is the tip would actually crack off and break. Not here. Like literally right there. And if it didn't say shockwave impact duty, it was just shockwave matrix carbide, and they actually pulled the whole snap-on thing where they put on it. I mean, this would be probably enough of a can of worms, but if we go like this is a black oxide coated. Oh, you're seeing, you can't see that drawer. forbidden drawer. Forbidden tool. You can't see this tool either. So this, you see this, and you're like, that has... that's a 1/4 inch hex to a 3/8 inch socket. I forgot what the term for that is. So of course that's impact rated, right? If you notice, it is in a screwdriver. And what does it say? Warning, non-impact. So yes, would people still use them for impacting? Oh, I am sure. But it's not, you know, Snap-on literally puts it on their stuff and makes it black. That was at least silver. Apparently it comes from the designers of those bits that they were never supposed to be used with an impact. They're too hard. Marketing, however, added impact duty, because that was the Shockwave line at the time, was impact duty, except this is impact duty matrix carbide, and then they added up here, where was that? Impact bit. They should have put power bit, remove the impact duty, and just call it matrix carbide, because why are more of these not opened? Why do I still have every one of those insert bits except what you see out? Well, because they last for friggin' ever, as long as you use them correctly. There you go, there's some of the newer ones for Torx. I'm going to make this drawer probably into the Irwin drawer. There's my super skinny guys. We got S2 steel, we got 1/4 inch by 4mm Phillips 2. Those are 1/4 inch by 2mm Phillips 1. Normally the Phillips 1s are 3mm. All this turned out. You can see some impact rated Irwin up there. You will see no, to this day, if you look, these are the latest. Nope, that's not the latest. Here. If you notice, I only have like one Milwaukee in these, if I have any. Yeah, I don't have a lot of Milwaukee, of the new stuff at least. There's a lot of the old stuff. You see a little silver strip, that's the old just Shockwave. There you go, that's what the newer, better DeWalt look like. They have this extra like nubbin after this like bulbous thing on them. Here's a DeWalt. Even then though, they're still carrying that hex shape through, whereas most other brands have abandoned that long ago and just done. See, this Phillips 2's even seen some use. I don't know, must have been in a different kit I had. But all of the impact rated Irwin, or sorry, the non-impact, just the forged Irwin, gone. You saw the last of it in my other kit, sadly. Probably just gonna make a drawer in there, just like I have for the matrix carbide and the slim bits. There is another thing. Never use those slim bits with an impact. You'll just twist them. You'll make them into a freaking pretzel. That's not what they're for. They're actually, if anything, they have a torque rating. Like you use them with a torque rated screwdriver. Is what they're actually supposed to be used for. I think I've also seen some of those being used with drywall guns. Once again, another fairly low impact use. Because those actually prevent them from going too far into the drywall. And then you need the skinnier one because they have a thing that holds a bunch of screws and you go beep 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 beep. You know, zoom, 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 zoom. That's me, by the way, going down like screw, 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 screw. And they have a little, like a strip that loads it. But yeah, we're going to have to give this guy a funeral. But otherwise, I now have, 39 brand new Phillips 2. I have 20 2 packs of power bits of Phillips 1, and I have that assortment. So I should be able to, if you notice, no Phillips or Square 3 though. Turns out though I can easily get that. It's mostly the 1 size that's available and the 3 size. Turns out the 2 size, which is basically what you use on anything that you would have used this on, that's the hard to get. So the fact that I got 2 of these packs is a banger. And yes, I don't fault the seller. Like I said, they even reached out and said, hey, we went and got these to ship them out to you, like from our thing. And I noticed that one of them was opened up. I counted all 20 bits were there. Do you still want it? And I'm like, yep. So some C word at the retail chain, because that would have looked obvious opening that up. Probably opened up one of these and put it to use improperly and stripped the living bejesus out of it. Bit of a bummer. But Paisley has since taken my chair, which she knows that she's not supposed to be in. Paisley Marie, you're not supposed to be there. No. Well, and with that, hopefully you guys hit that subscribe button. We'll see you in future videos. Let me know if there's any specific content that you want to see from me, or anything you want me to comment, explain, show off. If there's something in a video that you haven't seen, hit me up. If I haven't already made a video, I'll try it. If I have, I'll link it, or I'll see if I can make a video on it. Coming up is, yeah, I got a few more bits. I don't have a problem. I just bought it for the cases, okay? Peace.